Welcome into today's video, folks. Got a lot to speak about in this one here today. First off the top of this video, we're going to speak about Google stock. I made a change in regards to Google stock. I want to talk about that in this video here today. I think it's a stock worth addressing. I think it's a stock that's starting to be on a lot of people's minds out there. Second thing we're going to get into in this video is NVIDIA. NVIDIA's reporting earnings this week. I want to look at the numbers that are expected. I want to talk about if I'm expecting them to beat or miss their expectations. And if they beat by certain numbers, what's that going to mean to the market, to the NASDAQ, to other stocks? If they miss, what's that going to mean? Okay, so we'll speak about that in regards to today's video because that is massive for this market this week. Okay, then we're going to get into a stock I might sell. It is a stock I currently hold, and we'll speak about why I'm considering selling that stock. And the last thing we're going to speak about in today's video is just some other random stock talk in this one here today. By the way, check this out. It's a garage video. When's the last time I did a flip and flapjack and garage video for you guys? Okay, this is a pretty rare occurrence here today, but I thought let's do a little bit of a garage video. Okay, so got a lot of value to bring you guys here today. I appreciate you joining me. If you appreciate me recording this video for you guys here today, all I ask in return, smash a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, okay? Smash a like, make sure you subscribe. If you're looking to join my group of super investors and myself, then check out the pinned comment down there. We can see if we can get in there maybe either this week or next week to join us. You get access to all the course curriculums, Discord chat, all that good stuff, okay? Alrighty, so Google McDougal. Let's start with this one, okay? I made a big change in regards to Google, and I added it to my potential buys watch list. It's a big step to get added to that list because there's a certain amount of stocks I have on that list, and so now it is official. Google is on my radar as a buy. Okay, it's not just as on my radar as like a stock I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Now it's on my radar as a stock I might end up buying. Okay, now in terms of my possible buys list, that's 18 stocks deep. I try to usually keep that at 20 stocks or under. Now, if you're on that list, it does not guarantee you're going to buy. Sometimes there's stocks on that possible buys watch list that I already own. For instance, look at these two. Wynn Resorts and Nike are on there. I already own both those stocks. They're just stocks that I think are really attractive with their pricing right now that I'm looking to add more and more shares, right? You look at a Whirlpool, I haven't even started a position there, but that one's on my list because it's very, very compelling valuation now at this point in time. The public count is 11 stocks deep. Think about that. I have over $2 million invested in basically 11 stocks plus 2 hedges there. So it's kind of like, let's call it levels, right? In terms of trying to get into the private account, right? Or the public account, I should say, right? It's a huge step in the right direction. It's like Google does 7 rounds of interviews if you want to get a job at Google. And I feel like we're on like round 6 right now at this point in time. Getting added to this watch list is round 6. Round 7 is by round we can call it hired, is if I'm adding you aggressively at that point in time. Now, in regards to Google, here's kind of the max downside and upside for the stock over the next 3 years, in my personal opinion. Okay, so I had them doing about $7 of EPS in 2024. I think is a pretty realistic number overall. So max downside scenario I could see is some sort of massive compression in the PE ratio, forward PE ratio for this stock. Let's say over the next few years, they never get beyond $7 of EPS. I think, like in my brain, that is like worst case scenario for Google. Like they can, like literally over the next few years, they can never get past $7 EPS, and they just are at a 12 PE. So in that scenario, that would be max downside of about 40% over the next 3 years. But once again, that is the absolute worst case scenario I could foresee for Google over the next 3 years. Okay, 40% downside. On the flip side, I see max upside of about 120% for the stock over the next 3 years. And the reason being is I have them doing about $10 of EPS in 2026, right? I think in the kind of the max upside scenario, I think they could command a 30 PE ratio at that point in time, which would be similar to, actually that would be under Microsoft, that would be under Apple, companies like that. But it would mean Google's getting a lot more respect in the market by that point in time, and maybe all the visions of like, oh, Google's, getting eaten and they got too much competition, all these visions that people have right now, maybe those go away over the next few years. And so if they're doing $10 EPS, slap a 30 on it, right? Which is, once again, a 30 PE, that's, around where Apple's at, maybe even under Apple, and that's certainly under Microsoft right now. Then you're at about a $300 stock. So which means, we can call it roughly 120% upside or so over the next 3 years. So the way I would look at Google is the further it's under $145, the more attractive. If this stock can be acquired at $135 or $125, then we're really talking, because now we're talking about the downside scenario is so much more limited and the upside scenario is really attractive. So if anything, it's a stock that I think people should be rooting against going down in the short term, right? I would kind of view it as that, but it's definitely a big step in the right direction. Now, in terms of how I view the most attractive buying opportunities when it comes to the Magnificent Seven, as they've been coined, which the Magnificent Seven is Meta, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google McDougal, Amazing's Apple, and Tesla Tesla, right? How I would view those right now today as the most attractive buying stocks, prices out there, Meta is still the number one most attractive. Even after the massive run it's had, it's still the most attractive of all the Magnificent Seven stocks, in my personal opinion. And it's really not even close, okay? Then from there, I think Google now has emerged as the second most attractive stock in terms of a buying candidate for the Mag 7. I think Amazon's number 3. The thing that's really exciting about Amazon right now specific is they're seeing a nice acceleration in e-commerce business with a new acceleration in AWS, which is very exciting for this company because that's their two biggest business lines, right? Their e-commerce traditional business and then AWS. And the fact that they're starting to see a reacceleration in both those businesses is massive for Amazing's And so even though Amazon's, if you look at their PE, their forward PE, it's definitely above where their, let's call it a lot of the other Mag 7s are. It's actually still a relatively cheap stock, especially if you look at its historical averages. The fourth most attractive actually right now is in Nvidia, which I understand there's a lot of worries about Nvidia growth rates, and we'll speak about Nvidia a little later on in this video. But given the growth rates this company's been putting up, and considering the fact that the forward PE right now is in the 30s, that's a little too low considering their growth rates. The number 5 most attractive right now is good old Tesla Tesla. I've even bought some shares. I think that was when did I buy some shares? A few weeks ago or something like that. So Tesla's been, under 200 is pretty attractive. Anytime Tesla could be anywhere near $100, then you're really talking. But even under 200, I think Tesla's pretty attractive. Apple, I think is okay. Obviously their numbers haven't been the most exciting over the past year, but when it comes to Apple, we do know that likely a big iPhone's coming in September, and I think that's going to, mean very good things for, let's just call it, iPhone numbers in 2025. So I think Apple at this point in time is okay. It doesn't mean it can't go down in the short term, so do keep that in mind between now and the next iPhone releasing. Mr. Softy, I think, is the least attractive. Obviously, arguably the most stable business model of any of these 7 stocks. But with that being said, the valuation just doesn't make it an attractive buying candidate at this point in time, okay? So that's the way I would kind of view those. Now, what are the stocks I'm riding with personally? Well, I'm riding with these 3 of the Mag 7, right? Tesla Tesla, which I've been riding with for a long time and has gotten me to some pretty good places. Meta stock, right, which is another one I've been riding for a while, and that's gotten me to some pretty good places. And Amazing's which was more of a 2022 into early 2023 buy, and that one's doing me pretty good, right? We're sitting on $293,000 in gains, $638,000 in gains, and then $65,000 in gains there, right? So those are the 3 I'm riding with, but if let's say I didn't have money invest in those stocks, I might be tempted to ride more with, these 3 at this point in time. If I was buying with fresh money right now, let's say I didn't already acquire positions, and it didn't have tax implications, all the other complications that go with, already having a position built. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that. I think Google's really attractive, and don't be surprised, especially if Google goes down and we see a Google with the 1.3 in front of it, something in the 130s. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden you hear me starting a position in Google. Don't be surprised at all. Okay, we'll see. The problem is there's a lot of opportunities in this market. There's a lot of opportunities, and it's in more than just tech stocks. There's a lot of small cap opportunities. There's a lot of old sleepy companies that have just been beaten down. Like, remember I spoke about Whirlpool earlier? So there's a lot of opportunities in this market, guys. There's no shortage of opportunities. I can tell you that much. Even some of these stocks that have run a lot, like a Meta and an Nvidia, might be opportunities, okay? So that covers Google McDougal. Now let's talk about Nvidia. This is massive for the whole market this week. I want to share with you if I think they're going to beat, miss, guidance, all those sorts of things. Then we'll get into stock I might sell and some random stock talk, okay? So Nvidia, Wednesday's the earnings. It's coming out after the bell. I will do a Twitch live stream that day. It's going to be massive. On that day, not only is NVIDIA reporting, but also Lucid's reporting, and Rivian's reporting, and Dutch Bros is reporting, and I believe Etsy's reporting. So it's going to be a crazy after hour. So I will Twitch live stream that one because it's going to be craziness, okay? So if you want to join me for that, make a note on your phone, on a piece of paper, put it on your forehead, whatever you got to do. Join me for my Twitch live stream on Wednesday, okay? Now, this is everything for the market. NVIDIA is still the tastemaker of this market. It is still the one that dictates whether we go much more risk on with this market or about to go risk off in a huge, huge way. It is the one that matters more than any stock in the market right now, okay? So, this quarter numbers are about to report. It's in the bag. The EPS, I think, is in the bag. The revenue is in the bag, in my opinion. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if they missed on EPS or revenue. Guidance in the bag also, in my opinion. I think they're going to beat in terms of if they do give any EPS guidance, I think that's going to beat. Revenue guidance, I think that's going to beat as well. Okay, so I think those are in the bag. If for any reason those are not in the bag, oh boy, okay, we're in trouble. For instance, the revenue expectation here is $21.9 billion analysts have for the spring quarter, okay, which is what they'll guide to. So, oh boy, if they miss that, so let's say they report something with a 21 in front of it or under, it's going to crash and it's going to hit the market heavy, okay? If they have some sort of guide with a 21 in front of it or lower, disaster, because at that point in time, people will say, oh my gosh, the AI demand all of a sudden is drying up. This is not good. And all of a sudden you lose a bunch of optimism that was in the market, okay? So we cannot have something with a 21 or below in front of it, or NVIDIA is going to go down massively and the whole market's going to go down, okay? Especially the NASDAQ related stocks. Now, if we have a 22, let's say the guidance is something with a 22 billion in front of it, I think the stock's still going down. I don't think it's going to crash, but I think it will go down because people will be like, oh boy, okay, this isn't quite the smash that NVIDIA had before. I do believe if we have a 23 or above for the guide for NVIDIA, that baby's going flying after hours. And it's going to pull the whole Qs up, everything like that. I think we'll be looking really good. Now, the other interesting thing is if they guide anything in terms of commentary or numbers for the, more like the summer quarter or even the fall time quarter, because at that point in time, H200 should be hitting. And that's, the next generation after the H100, and that chip, is going to be extremely pricey. If you thought the H100 was expensive, wait till you pay for the H200. Then you're really talking, okay? So we'll see if they give any guidance in relation to that. But those are the numbers to kind of keep in mind. 23 plus, the stock's likely flying. 22, moving down. 21 or below, crash, okay? Now, let's talk about Palantir. Listen, Palantir. If NVIDIA goes flying, okay, and NVIDIA has Smash Factory, I could see Palantir like 27 end of this week, like 27, right? Which is, getting up to prices that people just, it's been years since Palantir has seen a 27 in front of it, right? But that's what I could foresee if NVIDIA comes in with Smash Factory. But it's a big question, right? Are they going to come in with it? So I think there's a pretty decent probability, but it's no guarantee. So if they come in, the momentum in AI-related stocks is going to just go up to the next level. If NVIDIA comes in, has a guidance with a 2.4 in front of it, 24 billion rev guide, oh my gosh. All the AI-related stocks are just going to be booming. And the amount of new money coming in the ETFs, because every quarter, people are starting to slowly have their beliefs of like, is this a bubble taken away? And if NVIDIA just keeps coming through with it, it's game over. And so a Palantir, next thing would be $27 end of week. What about a stock like Meta? Where's Meta stock at the end of this week? If NVIDIA goes flying in its Smash Factory, 500 plus for a Meta stock end of week, because that will pull the whole Qs up. It will create a new level of optimism out there. I can tell you that much. And Meta 500 plus, new all-time high for that stock at the end of this week. Even Amazing's on. Amazon, I think, would be like 177 end of this week if NVIDIA comes in with the Smash Factory. So now, in relation to all these stocks, right, if NVIDIA comes in, super lame guidance, and it crashes, well, obviously it's going to pull all these stocks down, right? But if they come in with the Smash Factory, whew, it's going to be a lot of fun. And remember what I spoke about with AWS earlier. AWS is seeing a reacceleration in growth. AWS also is going to see a massive demand uptick from AI-related applications on AWS. And so this is just some food for thought. Like, one of the biggest direct beneficiaries of AI is going to be Amazon at the end of the day. And that's going to play out over the next many years. You'll see that over the next, and I'm not talking about over the next just 1 or 2 years. This for Amazon is something that will play out over the next decade. With NVIDIA, with the chip cycle, that might be a little shorter term in terms of crazy demand and the crazy growth rates. With a stock like Amazon, this is like a next 10 plus years of runway for Amazon. And so this is just a little food for thought in regards to that. What about AMD stock? Well, AMD stock, if NVIDIA comes in Smash Factory, AMD stock will get lifted too. Rising tide lifts all boats, as they say. But the thing I'll say also is NVIDIA's eating AMD's lunch. You know, there's no other way of putting it. NVIDIA's eating AMD's lunch. I've looked at AMD's numbers the last several quarters, and they are so depressing compared to NVIDIA's numbers. Can AMD play catch up later this year? Hopefully. But I'm telling you, they're so far behind at this point in time, it's ridiculous. You know, Lisa Su's done a heck of a job running that company over the years, but it's been, I would say, pretty sad how far she's let Jensen and the NVIDIA team outrun her. You know, because if you look at these two companies' growth rates and the type of numbers they're putting up, they're not even in the same category. NVIDIA's blowing it out of the water right now. And so, but at the same time, you know, rising tide lifts all boats. And so AMD could be lifted along with NVIDIA. But man, you know, AMD's got some catching up to do. I'll say that. Alrighty, now next up, let's talk about a stock I might sell, and then we'll do some random stock talk, okay? So, a little over a year ago, about a year and a month ago, actually, I started the Patreon, right? And I started that as a way so everybody could see exactly how I build a portfolio from scratch with a small amount of money, right? Last year, I did $150 a week. This year, I switched it to now I'm doing $250 a week, so a very small amount of money. And I love kind of everybody being able to see this from scratch because the public account, which now has over $2 million in it, that particular portfolio, I started that one 6 or 7 years ago. But to a lot of people, it's not even like, it's hard to even like fathom that number. It's over $2 million in that portfolio now. And so it's become it's not very realistic to a lot of people. And it's almost not even motivating to some people because it's such a big number. And if you're starting with thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, it seems like it's so far to climb, right? The Patreon's great because you can see building up from a very small amount of money with one deposit a week, a little deposit, and exactly how I build the portfolio, right? And so it's been phenomenal, and we've been smashing it. I took a massive, insane profit on my Polaris hedge recently. That was a crazy percent gainer. And just in terms of position I have right now, you know, sitting on 157% gain on Palantir, 102% on Meta, 58% Texas Roadhouse, 58% on Amazon, 49% on Texas Roadhouse, 34% on Shopify, right? And that's even with me, like, you know, having to up my cost basis on several of these stocks. So we've been just killing it in that portfolio. It's been doing absolutely amazing, and just, you know, another portfolio building from scratch and just showing the world exactly how it's done and, you know, exactly how you can kill it in this game, right? And so there's one of these stocks that I'm interested in selling, right? And so, you know, let me ask the audience, let me ask you, which of these 5 stocks do you think I'm more inclined to sell potentially here, okay? And the keyword is potentially. I haven't made my final decision yet, but it is something I'm considering very strongly, right? I mean, think about this for a moment. Would I sell a Palantir? Cross sections of data and artificial intelligence, and their AIP's taking off right now, and they're 70% U.S. commercial revenue growth, and they're just starting to really get their AI opportunity to fruition. I mean, this is like first inning for Palantir. Would I sell it? Meta, I say it's the most attractive stock to buy of the Mag 7. Would I sell a Meta? Amazon, I say it's the 3rd most attractive stock to buy right now in the Mag 7. Would I sell Amazon? Texas Roadhouse, you know how I love Texas Roadhouse, right? Shopify, you know how I love Shopify. Which one of these would I sell? Well, process of elimination, right? Palantir, let's be honest. I'm not selling Palantir. Meta, am I selling Meta? Heck no. Meta's still a steal deal. I can't sell a Meta at a 22 forward P. Come on, give me a break. Put me to sleep. No. Amazon, can I sell Amazon? No. Amazon's one of those few companies, you buy it, you hold it forever, okay? So That leaves us Roadhouse, and that leaves us Shopify. Well, Shopify, I just did a video on this channel. Some of you guys might have seen it. Some of you guys might not have. 3 days ago, called Buy Shopify Stock and Don't Stop. So I'm going to say it's probably not Shopify stock, right? So that means it's likely Roadie. So here's a deal with Roadhouse, and here's why I'm considering selling this truly great company. It really is great. Once again, my final decision has not been made here yet, but it's something I'm strongly considering, okay? Roadhouse is a great company, has a great balance sheet. No debt on the balance sheet, 100 million plus in cash, and, phenomenal restaurant chain, always super busy. Great, okay? But we have a couple of issues with Roadhouse, okay? Valuation's no bueno. It's trading, at about a 30 P ratio or so. It's trading at a very high forward P as well. I'll show you that in just a moment. The dividend yield is pretty small if you consider them against some other players in the restaurant space, about 1.5%. So we have some good things with Roadhouse. We have some bad things, right? If I go ahead and pull up the forward P for the stock, it's trading at about 26.6%. Or excuse me, 26.6 times next year's expected numbers, 2024 expected numbers. Woo-wee! First thing is, that's if that's accurate. That's if that 555 is accurate, which we don't even know if that is. Because here's the deal. I was looking at Roadie's last 5 quarters. Out of the last 5 quarters, and once again, Texas Roadhouse is a great company, but they have had some weakness in their earnings recently that's kind of getting brushed past because the stock's done so well and because it's such a respected company. So people are kind of brushing past the numbers. But this is a little troubling, okay? Of the last 5 quarters, 3 times they've missed EPS. All 3 of those 5 times they missed EPS, it was by a big number, not a small number. And then the 2 times they beat EPS, it was like little baby beats, okay? So you had 3, out of the last 5 quarters, they had 3 cents worth of beats on EPS. Meanwhile, they had 33 cents of misses in the past 5 quarters, okay? So I don't even know if this number, we can really count on that, considering that they've missed numbers out 3 of the last 5 quarters, and they've been big misses, right? And then the beats have been so minuscule, so small. So I'm not in a place where I can really trust the valuation where it's trading at. And at some point in time, I think people might start to care about the PE ratio in relation to the fact that they've been missing some numbers here, right? Now, if I look at somebody like a Cake, which I would put up on that mantle, the most well-run restaurant chains out there, right? A Cake, for instance, is trading at less than half the PE, forward PE, right? Cake's trading at, based upon their 2024 expected numbers, 11.5 times. That's versus Roadhouse's 26.6, right? So way less than half. And then price to sales ratio wise, it's like a night and day difference. We got Roadhouse trading at a forward price to sales ratio of 1.87 versus a forward price to sales ratio on Cake of 0.48, right? And when it comes to price to sales ratios and comparisons, you usually want to compare stocks against other stocks in that same category. So a restaurant chain versus another restaurant chain is a pretty good one to compare, okay? If it's a different industry versus different industry, always remember, it's irrelevant. If you want to trade, look at a restaurant chain versus a Meta, that's advertising, it's not even worth doing, okay? So less than a half price to sales ratio, way less than half of a forward PE for this company overall, right? And in my opinion, Cake's got better growth prospects for the next decade. When I think about Cake's growth prospects versus Texas Roadhouse, right? We know Texas Roadhouse has opportunities to grow. We know Cheesecake Factory brand has opportunities to grow. But when I look at FRC concepts and how many successful concepts I see there that they can expand over this next 5-10 years versus Roadhouse, which has a brand called Jaggers and another brand called Bubba's 33, which I look at those brands and I think they're very similar to Roadhouse. I've been to Bubba's 33 in Glendale, Arizona several times. And I can tell you that chain reminds me a lot of a Roadhouse. It's a very similar kind of concept, tasting foods. The main difference is they offer pizza, whereas a Roadhouse doesn't. But if you get a lot of products there, you're going to be like, dang, this is pretty dang similar to Roadhouse overall. And so I look at that concept and I'm not nearly as excited as when I look at a North Italia concept or even a Flower Child concept that Cake owns. I think Cake's got some much more compelling, we can call it growth pipeline over this next 10 years than let's call it a Texas Roadhouse. Over the next year, maybe Texas Roadhouse has better growth prospects, but I'm talking about when I'm thinking years out in regards to these stocks, right? Also with cake, I'm getting a much bigger dividend yield of, let's call it, it's over a double up of the dividend yield in regards to cake, right? And I'm getting a far lower valuation on something like a cake versus a Roadhouse, right? But the one thing I have with Roadhouse is it's got a better balance sheet, right? No doubt about it. So that's where I'm left in a pretty tough dynamic here, where I'm like, I might have to make a move, right? I might have to make a move. So we'll see. We'll see if I end up making it, but it's definitely something I'm strongly considering at this point in time, because I'm just like, what am I going to wait for Texas Roadhouse to get up to a 30 forward P? I mean, it's just getting, for a restaurant chain, it's getting really high. And for, once again, a restaurant chain that's missed EPS 3 out of the last 4 quarters and missed by 33 cents of those 3 to 5 quarters versus a 3-cent beat. Come on. So I don't know. I'm thinking I might have to take my insane gains on Roadhouse. I might have to do it. So I don't know. I'll consider it. It's something I'm strongly considering right now. If I make the move, it'll probably happen in the next, I would say, few weeks. If I do decide to make the move, it's a tough decision overall. A very tough decision. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay. All right. Now let's get into some random stock talk here. A few random things I want to share with you guys. So first up, I'll let the private group know this here in the meta chat. I said, just left the only Ray-Ban store in Vegas. It's at Forum Shop, Caesar's Palace. From what the lady told me, demand is crazy for meta glasses. So these meta glasses, if you haven't heard of them, they're starting to get quite a bit of buzz out there. And these Ray-Ban meta glasses, they have, you can record pretty decent video quality right from the glasses. You can also talk on the phone through the glasses instead of like wearing AirPods and having the thing stick out of your ears. You can also listen to music and a few other things in regards to these meta glasses. They're pretty cool, and they're not that expensive, like maybe $300. So if you're getting, like, say, a prescription on that, I mean, if you were to compare that versus traditional glasses, it's not even like you're paying that big of a premium for all that tech you're getting, right? Which is pretty darn cool. And also, I've watched several videos of people with the meta glasses, and most of them have pretty positive things to say overall. She said people will call the store from other states to see if they have any because their state doesn't, and they're traveling into Vegas. I want to get a pair, but need to get my prescription first, right? And they only had, like, I think 2 different kinds available, because they got a bunch of different, like, color schemes and things like that in regards to them, but like they're just running ridiculously low on inventory. So Zuckerberg has also said, like, demand's way stronger than he expected, than Luxottica, which I believe owns Ray-Ban brand, expected. So this is a pretty interesting opportunity that I don't think anybody's looking at. Everybody's so focused on Meta Quest 3 versus Vision Pro, and that's all the talk and debate. But beneath the surface, you got this product that Meta's launched here that is like taking off. And guess what? While I was in the store, guess what other people were coming over to see in that Ray-Ban store? The Meta glasses. So as soon as I got even near that thing, that lady, she already knew what we were there for. She already knew I was there with my wife. She already knew, like, I know what these guys are here for, and already gave us the whole spiel, which just shows, like, how many people are coming in there to look at those glasses and check them out and things like that. So, we'll see what happens with this, but I'm just saying, like, that's from the stock perspective, does anybody talk about this? No, but it's like something that's big. Go to a Ray-Ban store. If you got a Ray-Ban store in your city, go to the Ray-Ban store. Try to get a pair. Good luck. And then talk to the sales associates there about demand and how much interest there is in that. And you'll be shocked. Absolutely shocked, okay? So that's a little food for thought. Then I saw Andre posted this baby, okay? He said, check out the body language of all the big shots in this photo. This is what leadership looks like. So this was in the Palantir chat. I saw this, and I thought this would be interesting to show you guys. We're always, just chatting about different stuff. But there's Carp right there, big dog Carp. And, just everybody's eyes are very fixated on, what he's saying and things like that. And he can definitely grab a room's attention. He knows how to do that. I'll say that, right? And, those are the sorts of people. Carp does a lot of these things. He goes to these big events. He speaks to these very influential people that, let's call it run the world. And he has to do this sort of stuff because his company has to get big contracts with the government. They have to get big contracts with big companies. And so he does a lot of these sorts of things. And he's one of the best at really, getting everybody's attention and, having everybody want his opinion. And so, yeah, that's just Carp for you there. Okay. I love seeing stuff like that. Brenton sent this out here. Brenton's always taking some good photos of kind of the Orange County area of different things. And I saw this. I thought this was interesting. He says, this is probably the last time I'm going to post this. That might be 3 in Irvine. But I guess he's starting to see so many Cybertrucks that's not even being that special to him. But for a lot of us, this is really special because I haven't seen one Cybertruck personally yet in Vegas. Not one. I'm sure there's out there, but I haven't seen one yet. And so, but from what I'm hearing, Orange County is starting to see a decent amount of these. He says, did anybody know what this thing is? That's just exciting. Let me know if you guys have seen a Cybertruck in person. And let me know where you live. If you have seen a Cybertruck in person, where do you live that you were able to see one in person? Because it looks like, I don't know, it looks like Orange County is getting some of these early day Cybertrucks so far. But I think that's very, very exciting. All right. Now, next up here. This is some just gems I'm going to drop for you and some knowledge, okay? So listen, stay focused on building your portfolios out there, guys. There's deals everywhere if you're a long-term investor in this market, right? And the other thing that there is everywhere, other than deals everywhere, there's distractions everywhere. I mean, absolutely everywhere you turn, there's distractions, okay? People saying, don't buy, market's going to crash. Don't buy because of presidential election. Don't buy because of geopolitical, blah, blah, blah. Don't buy because. Okay, and this is nothing new. This is going to be here. It's going to be here 6 months from now. It's going to be here 12 months from now. It's going to be here 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's always going to be there, okay? You gotta not dive into all the crap distractions that are going to take you away from doing what you're doing, which is building out your portfolio, adding to great stocks over time, okay? And welcoming, if anything happens, corrections, crashes in the market, bring it on. We'll take advantage of more deals out there. As long as you got more income than expenses, you're always in a position to add to your portfolio and build it stronger and stronger and stronger. Every week, I add in my portfolios. Every week, I build them stronger. Public count every week gets stronger. The Patreon portfolio every week gets stronger. Any other portfolios get stronger every week, right? Meanwhile, other people are focused on, I don't know what, all the distractions in this world, and they're not building anything sustainable that's lasting for themselves over the next 10, 20, 30 years. And they're just kind of like floating around. And so just keep in mind, there's a million distractions out there. They're going to keep being there. And that is what it is. And you've got to try to avoid all those distractions and all those distracting people out there because there's a lot of them. And you've got to stay with your people. I try to, limit who has access to me. I do always do that because I don't want a million different people clouting my visions of this and that and causing all these different distractions. I need to stay focused on my lane. And something we do in the private group, right, is every week we're all focused. We're all focused on building up our portfolios, not getting caught up in all the baloney. They spew to you all the time about this and that and this and that and the same stuff every year about everything's going to crash, 90% crash. Okay, have it crash. And we'll be buying the dip the whole way down and we're going to make a flipping flapjack and fortune. We don't care. All we know is we know how to assess stocks that are great opportunities at great valuations. And we take advantage of those deals week in and week out. And our portfolios get stronger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And sure, they have some dips here and there, and then they build to their next level of strength and strength and strength, right? We're never scared. We're confident in our decision making. And that's what that is, okay? And so you got to stay focused at that and be around like-minded people. One of the great things with the private group isn't just learning everything you could ever want to know that I know up here, but it's also being around like-minded investors. They're all focused, and they're not buying into all the baloney. The media is selling you out there all the time and all the fear tactics, and they're just focused on buying great companies. What are the billionaires doing? Every day. Do the billionaires get caught up into, the media said this and the news channel said this and news? No. The billionaires are focused on building their businesses day in and day out. And their businesses get stronger, stronger, and stronger, and stronger, right? And so how do you want to live like? Do you want to live like Joe, who's, barely making ends meet every month? Or do you want to live like a billionaire who's always focused on how do they build stronger and stronger, right? And you got to ask yourself these questions. And you got to, be real with yourself on where you're going in life, right? And so, yeah. But anyways, if you want to apply to join my private group and join myself and the like-minded investors in there, pin comment down there, folks. Big week for the market, big week for all of us. Much love and have a great day.